Now guys, behind us, we have got a Fiesta ST150, which here in Australia, it's known as the XR4. And this is actually, it's the baby XR. You know, you've heard of the XR6, the XR8, but this was the XR4. And it's a 3-door, tiny hot hatch. They're all manual. They got a little 2-liter 4-cylinder up front. They're front wheel drive, but they only weigh like 1,000 kilos. And I've been told these are a huge amount of fun to drive. So in this video, guys, we're gonna review it, we're gonna launch it, we're gonna drive it, and we're gonna find out what these cars are really all about. All right, guys, so out in the XR4, the old little Fiesta ST150, and again, just for such a little buzz box is what this car is, you gotta kind of appreciate it because they only came in a 5-speed manual. You know, yes, they're front wheel drive. Yes, it's only a 2-liter 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated, but the thing weighs less than like 1,100 kilos. So, you know, it really does surprise you, especially out on a windy road here. Now these XR4s, they did only come out from 07 to 08 here in Australia. You know, look, over in Europe where these were built, I believe in Germany, you could get these for a lot longer time period. But yeah, here we only got them for 2 short years, and they only sent a little over 1,000 examples, I believe. So it is quite a rare car to see on the road, and it's why I've been looking for one for so damn long. And to see this example and get in it today, it's been worth the wait. I'll actually say it's this thing is quite fun. And under the bonnet, guys, look, it's only got a 2-liter 4-cylinder. It's naturally aspirated, but it's still making 110 kilowatts, so 150 horsepower, and 190 newton meters. Front wheel drive, but I'll tell you what, it really lays it down. And just power to weight figures, it's like 100 kilowatts something a ton, because, you know, this thing only weighs a ton. So it actually moves. And look, I've always wanted to review this car because, you know, here in Australia, the XR6, the XR8, you know, the Turbo Barra, it's just, they're such iconic Aussie cars. And I've reviewed the XR5 Turbo, which again was a European model brought to Australia. And it's fantastic as well. You know, it had an inline 5-cylinder turbo. So when I found out they had an XR4, I've just been curious and I've always wanted to see this thing. And you know, the baby XR, this thing is still cool. I'll tell you, it's not got a turbo, it's not ridiculous, but you get it on a nice windy road like we're on today, it'll lay it down and it'll keep up with just about anything. I'll tell you what, it really would. This particular one, look, it does have an air intake, it's got an exhaust, it's got a strut bar, front and rear. It's tuned, but you know, at the end of the day, this thing is very basically done up. And I gotta say, it feels fantastic, it really does. The owner uses this as just sort of a fun daily / track car. And for the amount of money you can pick one of these up for, it's a fantastic little machine. Now when these came out, brand new, they're gonna set you back about 25 grand. I don't really think there was any options either that you could put on this, but it was just a fairly cheap, run around, fun little car. And you know, they just don't make too many cars like this anymore. It's really a shame. And on the used market, they're still quite cheap. You know, between, I wouldn't say on average, between sort of that $5,000 and $10,000, you probably pick one of these up, just depending on K's and, you know, condition. But you get something like this, you know, for $5,000, $6,000. This thing is a huge amount of fun on the back road. It really is. And I'll tell you what, you know, the handling, the lightness, you can feel it. And it actually revs. The thing will rev to 7,000 RPM. And it's definitely not short for power. It's not going to be a speed demon on the straightaway, but I'll tell you what, you can really push it through a mountain road like this. And I really think, you know, when these came out, it was sort of that peak Ford before they started to go downhill a bit and, well, really evaporated into nothing almost here in Australia. Because, yeah, the interiors are pretty cheap and plasticky, but they just focused on what was right. You know, they put a decent engine in this thing, they gave it enough power, it steers well, it shifts well, it's fun to drive, and they're pretty reliable. You know, you can still see these things on the road. Again, they're a rare car, but you see them with 250,000 Ks plus, still carving it up. So, you know, those mid-2000s were really, it was the sweet spot because, you know, they had the XR4s, the XR5s, you know, all those Focus STs, and, you know, the Mark II, the Focus RS. That's still to this day my favorite hot hatch. And I really don't think anyone's ever going to beat that because everything now just kind of stinks. And you know, it's funny because on the channel we're always featuring, you know, these 1,000 horsepower Barras, these, you know, big power V8s, and you name it. You know, displacement is king. But when you get in these, you know, these little buzz boxes again, but on a back road, they are so much fun. And I think the real draw here is the fact that they're so cheap, and a little bit of, you know, throw an exhaust on it and an intake, and these things can really give you a huge smile. They really can. And yeah, it's not a drag car, but my goodness, the handling, really good sense of connection when you're driving it. It's good fun. You really do just have to admire Ford's team, you know, with the ST division when they built this, because, you know, they might have just took the regular Focus engine and put it in this, but the fact that it weighs next to nothing, you know, they went through the drive line, like, you know, shorter throws in the manual, just the steering rack is improved, better brakes. It really does come together for a fuller package. And this thing's an awesome little rally car, honestly. Like, the owner tells me too, you know, when you really start getting comfortable with it and throwing it into some corners, you know, you'll lift the back wheel off. So it's always cool when, you know, you got a little sporty hatch that'll do that. Now guys, we're going to do the WiperTech wiper test. So again, what are the XR4 wipers like? So again, it's on the right side. We'll pull back on the stock and we'll have a look. And they did the back wipers. What's going on? How do I do the front? Oh, I gotta flick it up. How do you just get the spray?
Push it in, I reckon. Push that little button on the end in.
Oh my word. Well, this is the first. I had no idea how to operate the wipers, and that is hilarious. Hey, well, the wipers actually wipe pretty well, but that is a complicated, overly engineered German thing. Of course it would be. You pull back, it does the back wipers, and then you got to lift up and squirt on the inside to get the front wipers. So complicated. But again, guys, we're sponsored by WiperTech. If you want the best wipers, use my code. It's Ross15 off. Link down below. That was ridiculous. Now guys, we are going to attempt the 0 to 100 powered by C-Tech. So just going to pull off to the side here. We're going to see what the little XR4 can do. Hit reset on the Dragy. Let's see. we got there eventually, and look, I think these were claimed at around 8 seconds, and we just got a 9 flat. So honestly, for a backcountry road, you know, it's not a brand new car. It's a pretty reasonable time, but again, it's not a rocket ship in the straight line. But man, get this thing on the twisties. It is a lot of fun to shift. It's one of those cars you can really use, and yeah, it's just, you can use it, you can keep your license, you can have fun on a back road. You learn how to drive properly too as well in a manual, and they're just easy, simple cars. You know, it's really a good little thing, this. And it's got a lot of RPM to go. It really does. You know, I find myself really struggling to get to the top. And yeah, it's not a rocket ship, but the more comfortable you get with it on a better road, and you know, you really will become a better driver in this thing. Now look, we're gonna finish the video off here, but the XR4, you know, the Fiesta ST150. What do you guys think? You know, I want the Aussies, the XR6 guys, the XR8 guys, I want to know what you think of this thing, because it's totally alien for Australia, I think. But if you drive one, you give it a chance, it really is quite fun to drive. And I think for the money nowadays, especially, this thing is hard to beat. So if you enjoyed this video, guys, make sure you hit the like button, leave a comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.